Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of CaseyBuilds Live. Today we're doing a fun build that I've been looking forward to doing for a while, and I know there's a lot of, surprisingly, F1 fans out there who enjoy the CaseyBuilds, so hopefully today will be exciting. Let me go ahead and grab the first tray over here. Oh, it's already all falling apart. Sorry. I did my best. They're all falling over. This is ridiculous. So, this set that we're doing today is in honor of Ferrari's 1000th Grand Prix race. So that's kind of a big deal for him. And so we're going to do a very apropos Ferrari racer, F1 racer today. This is one of my, this is my oldest set that I got as an adult. I had mentioned this set a while ago. It was one that my dad had gotten for me when I was in college. And this was the first set that I had gotten. It had been years and years since I'd gotten a new Lego set. And, it was a very exciting surprise. So it's from, let's see here, this set came out in 2004. 2004? Yeah. So it was at the end of my career here. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I know I've mentioned this before with the instructions for some of the older sets, but the older, for whatever reason, the way they scan these things in for the older ones... Oh, I need to move something here. Oh yeah, I figured somebody would have been... There's Bo James. My windows were not organized correctly. You do like the Ferrari. The instructions are a little dark and hard to read. I don't know why there's a difference to the way the old ones look and the way the new ones work. Maybe the new ones they stay purely digital, and old ones maybe they have to scan them in or something. But I don't know. For whatever reason, the instructions are a little tougher for me to read. I don't know. I know Cordy frequently follows along with the instructions, but he also downloads them and watches them on his own computer sometimes, which I think was really clever. Point being, we're in luck because pretty much all the pieces in this set are red, black, or white. You don't have to differentiate between a lot of different shades. Sometimes some of these older sets have lots of brown pieces, and it's kind of hard to tell the difference between the browns. Oh, yeah. Hello, everybody. Thank you. Yeah. Appropriate shirt for the day. So, do I have to do what? Oh, let's point it out. I forgot to swap cameras to the build cam. Duh. What a huge mistake. Thank you for pointing that out. I was so excited to pop right into getting on the build. Forgot my normal stuff. Oh, speaking of, this is the set we're doing today. So it's a 1/10 scale Ferrari F1 car. 719 pieces, so it's not going to be a long build. This will be a hour and a half, 2 hours tops kind of a thing. It's a quickie. But still a fun one. Uh-oh. I'm hearing sounds coming from our paddock. What year is this set supposed to be from? 2004. So this is still college Casey. Incidentally, if you noticed, it's one of the boxes, I have a lot of proclivities. When I get my Lego boxes, I try to keep them as nice as possible. Incidentally, this is one box that has been sort of beat up a little bit, and not for the reasons you might think. So, the house that I moved into after college was filled with all sorts of interesting things. It was somebody else's house, and it was full of all their stuff, and they had a lot of stuff. Since it's not one car, you should probably try and make this your fastest build ever. Well, it's a tiny set, so it probably will be. But that's not because I'm going to be trying to. Anyway, the house that I lived in had all this weird stuff all over the place. So it was the kind of place where I lived there for 6 years, and up until I moved out, I was constantly seeing new things around the house because there was just so much weird random stuff in the house. Anyway, the reason why that's important is because there was one time when I was living there, this set had been out, I'd been building it, and for a few days... Oh, no. Yeah, incidentally, this was a set that I had let Bo James borrow. And honestly, Bo James, the only reason why I even gave you the box for this one in the first place was because it was not one that required being kept in pristine conditions. So somebody was living with me at the house at the time, and oh, I already messed it up. These instructions are difficult to see. Someone was living with me at the house at the time and said they kept hearing or seeing something weird, like they were hearing weird noises or seeing little like shadows and things that looked like they were moving around, and I was like, yeah, okay, you're crazy, knock it off. And this had happened for a couple of days, and then I think it was on the weekend, I was out doing something, and I got a call or a text from her, and said, whatever it is, it's, I saw it, it's, something's in this one room, you need to come home right now. So I came home and found out. I looked over into the room, and there was this tiny little black cat named Figaro. We had seen signs around the neighborhood in the past week of people saying, we lost our cat Figaro, please notify us if you find him. Anyway, apparently at some point in time, this cat had come in through the back door, which we frequently left open just for fresh air. And this cat had wandered into the house, unbeknownst to us, and had been just terrorizing the person that was living with me, making her think there were ghosts and things. Anyway, what all of this means is, at one point, I think while I was gone, that cat had started to use this Lego box as a litter box, and so it's been abused a little bit. It's the least pristine Lego box that I have. But if you're the kind of person that worries about cats, I went and found one of the flyers and contacted the owner, and they lived right around the corner and got them their stupid cat back. Turns out the cat was quite old. Cat was fine.
I understand now.
What's going on over here? Check out Nico Bricks. Wow. A lot of people talking about Nico Bricks. Okay, if you could stop spamming Nico Bricks into the chat, that'd be great. This might be the first time I feel like I need to have a moderator. I don't know. Okay, clearly there's some bot trying to get me to go to Nico Bricks. Well. Okay, we're going to pause the build for a second while I see if I can figure out how to block these people. Because that's not cool. Okay. Oh, well, if you're not bots, spamming a... Yeah, that's still not cool. Okay. Thank you for stopping. Appreciate it. Okay. Back over to the chat, or back over to here. Unless this was some sort of rite of passage hazing, like getting into a fraternity, it seems a little rude. Even if it's like a rite of passage hazing to get into a fraternity, that's pretty rude. Okay. All right. So anyway, Figaro's fine, but yes, Nitin, you got a cat litter box loaned to you at one point in time. Yeah, that must be something special. That's great. Oops, that is a 6-piece long. I need a 5-piece long. Okay. Thank you for the apology, Nico. Okay. Oh, well, that is an interesting thing. It's difficult for me to see the difference between white and gray. Yeah. These old instructions really are kind of annoying, but still better than... Can't imagine what I would need to do to be able to point a camera at the instructions if I actually had them out on the table. Okay. I'm going to do my best to make sure that I get these in the right spots. There. See, and there I go. I was talking about how I thought it wasn't going to be an issue with the poor coloring, but we'll do the best we can do. So one of the very best Ferrari stories I probably have would be from last year. I ended up going to a car show called the Quail, and it's part of the Monterey Auto Week. And oh shoot, for the longest time, it's the whole Auto Week is an awesome celebration of all kinds of cars, from top high end. Well, it's got a lot of high end fancy stuff. I mean, that really is it's the pull. But there's also races called the historic Monterey Historic Automobile Races. Oh, and let me just see where these stickers are supposed to go. Stickers. Okay. Flip forward to see those here. And the historic races at Laguna Seca are something that my dad and I have been going to for a long time. We don't go every year, but whenever there's a really cool host, we'll go. Last time we went was when I had my GTR, and it was Nissan's, I want to say it was 50th anniversary with Nismo, possibly. And so that was a fun thing to get to take the GTR there and be part of the special Nissan parking area. And anyway, that's not where I was going with this. So the week is a big extravagant affair, and there's something called the Quail, which happens at the Quail Lodge, and it's a really, really fancy car show that I had ended up getting selected in the lottery. Another friend had gotten selected in the lottery and asked me if I wanted to go, and so we bought a couple of tickets and went to this car show. Well, my brother-in-law is a big car guy, and this is a car show that he's gone to many times. And he has a Ferrari, well, now he's got a couple of Ferraris. But I met up with him at the show, and he was planning to go to this Ferrari party after the Quail show was over. And the Quail show itself, already right off the bat, was one of the things where you can walk around, and they've got booths and tents and all sorts of nice cars everywhere, but all of the... Hey there, Grace, Tyson. Hey there, guys. Haven't seen you in a while. But you can walk around, and the tents have all sorts of really good food, but fancy, snobby stuff. Like, you can get as much caviar as you want, champagne and caviar, and everything's... Well, you pay a lot up front to get in, but once you're in, then it's very, very posh. It's probably one of the fanciest things I've ever experienced.
Just like when you're wedding.
And once that was done, over at night, they do all sorts of other parties and things hosted by various groups. So my brother-in-law with the Ferraris was planning to go to the Ferrari party that night. Hello, Aunt Judy. And that's something he had gone to many times before. So tickets to get into the Ferrari party were ridiculous. They're $1,000 a ticket. And I obviously didn't have one. But he said that shouldn't be a problem. See if we can get you in. And I thought, oh, okay, well, it's gonna be awesome. He's gonna pull some strings and, use his Ferrari connections to get me into the party. I doubt Ferrari is watching, so it's probably okay. This needs to... This tricky bit. Did I do those upside down? Oh, I did. It's too hard to see the colors. Shoot. Gotta fix that. So Ferrari party, and I thought, okay, that's cool. He'll just talk to some people and get me in. And so we go back to the place he was renting to prep for the evening. And he gets out this shoebox. I'm like, hey, that's cool. And he's like, yeah, this is where I keep all of my passes from previous years. And I thought, oh, that's great. That's kind of a memento box to keep everything. And so he kept rummaging through it, and he was looking at the pass for this year and looking through his box. And he's like, okay, this one from this year looks almost identical to the pass from this year. So just throw this around your neck, and we'll try to get you in. And I'm starting to think, wait a minute. This doesn't seem like what I was thinking we were going to be doing. And then we get to the party, and it's after dark, and we're walking through a very, very fancy area, and the party was at this one lodge. He's like, okay, well, the front door's over there. That's where everybody's going in. It's not like they have a whole lot of security at these things, so let's go around this way. And so we went around out onto the golf course, and long story short, hopped the back fence to get up into the Ferrari party. He's like, you know, once you're inside, nobody's going to check your stuff. So we just walked right on in through hopped the back fence into the Ferrari party, and that was that. And sorry, I got a tickle right now. But that got me into the Ferrari party, and there was lots more fancy food, and they were unveiling a new Ferrari model and all sorts of fun stuff. But it was definitely one of the coolest Ferrari experiences I've had. How is the smoke today? Yeah. It's actually better. That is the end of bag 1. We are on to bag 2 already, and I'm going to let Lex bring that over since she doesn't spill her pieces as much as I do. Oh.
I can't grab them, so.
It's already they've already been spilled. Great. Smoke's better. We can see blue skies, but we got a ways to go still. Okay. Anyway, I don't think the Ferrari party is something I would see myself actually buying a ticket to go to. It was a lot of fun. It was really cool, but there's a lot of things that would be a lot of fun for $1,000, and gotta pick and choose. Well, I might be wrong. I'm now being goaded by my wife if I have to pick and choose. So.
I'm saying, if you just lie and get in anyway, you're not paying anything at all, so.
It sounds to me like I'm getting approval.
That's not what's happening.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
That's not what's happening!
Now I'm getting yelled at. Alright. Where are we here? Yeah, and maybe this is an indicator for why I'm actually not Ferrari material, but I would rather spend $1,000 on new Legos than I would just go into the party. That's a very good point.
It's like a regular Tuesday for you.
That's a good point, Sidewinder. Also, this was the first time. Last week we moved where the microphone was to fix some of the weird issues. There was some reverb coming off the table, and this week, hopefully the face cam is doing a lot better. Moved some more things around, and the build area keeps getting more complicated behind the scenes, but hopefully that's making it nicer and more stable for you guys watching. Also, got the oh geez, it's like dominoes here. How am I supposed to pick these things up? I'm trying not to destroy your beautiful organization, but
There
there's
wasn't really a good
there's
way
no way.
to put those on there, so.
No way at all. Hello, Aunt Nancy. What was I saying? Oh, moving things around, and we've got the time lapse recording again. I looked at the time lapse from last week with the piano, and I think it looked pretty darn good. So I haven't posted that yet, but I'll get that up soon. And it looks pretty cool. Also did another. We have a. The Corso Rosso watch. Are you calling this? Is that the red? Is that Ferrari red? Corso Rosso? Is that the official name? Anyway, time lapse is going. I'll get that posted soon, and was actually able to do another pretty cool time lapse during the week of building the Lamborghini set, which I'll get that posted soon as well. Ferrari red, Corso Rosso. Yeah, sure. There we go. It matches. So, got a few new time lapses to post, which haven't had in a while. So, looking forward to that. Gotten some external feedback that is the preferred method of viewing for some folks, which I can totally appreciate. Yeah, but I feel like to be a Ferrari guy, you got to be comfortable going to Shell, and I just don't like Shell gasoline enough. Chevron guy. It's actually a pretty decent week for me, Lego-wise. We built some more of the Lego artwork sets. I helped with the Beatles one. It's actually the official international race color of Italy. Huh, neat. That's really cool. Thank you for the interesting facts there, Sidewinder. But yes, Lex put together what is currently the largest set in our house. It was a combination of 3 artwork sets that were supposed to be 3 individual portraits, but you can, if you bought 3 of the boxes, you could combine them all to make one really big portrait, and it's a 4.5 foot tall Darth Vader picture. So that looks really good too. Where do you go, little friend? Oh, over here. One thing that I noticed while building the Lamborghini set, however, was having well-written instructions is a large part of the enjoyment of this whole process. And I gotta say, the Ferrari, I was a little... the Lamborghini, I was rather disappointed with the building instructions for the Lamborghini. They did not live up to the standards of the what I felt like the others, the Porsche and Bugatti had set. It was a really cool set, but it was tough to build. Actually, yes. Sidewinder. It's very tall. I think the rocket is just under 4 feet. if I remember correctly. Also, she calculated out the number of pieces that she ended up building, and it was somewhere around 7,300.
7,330.
7,330 pieces. So that's what I meant by it's currently the largest set in the house. Not the not the physical size, but the number of pieces. However, it actually applies to both metrics. So how is Ferrari doing right now? When's the Tuscan Grand Prix? Is that in the wee hours of the morning tomorrow morning? That's when it's supposed to be? Captain Morgan's. Yeah, we didn't plan this one to be a drinking day. Okay, that says 8, I think. Does it say 8? And these instructions are garbage. Yeah, 8. That's an 8. Well, welcome back for another stream there, Tyler. I'm sorry. Tyblerone. Okay, that went through. Actually, with that raid that occurred earlier with Nico Blocks or whatever it was, maybe this would have been the appropriate day to have some pirate themed beverages.
Let me know when you need the wheels.
Okay.
There's some new pegs.
Yeah, so this set is a racers is the theme, and it doesn't, oh geez, I just can't not knock these things down. It's not a theme that is still an active theme. It's actually the only racers set that I have, but now they have something called Speed Champions, which is, this is basically a Technic set without being labeled as a Technic set. The Speed Champions ones are less about it's less of a Technics kind of a set and more of building kind of the old-fashioned cars, but they are smaller and a little bit more less connectors and more studs building out the shape of the cars. Different kinds of sets. I prefer these sorts of Technic builds myself when it comes to cars because I love the actual working mechanisms. Holy cow, that's really hard to see. Incidentally, tomorrow I was thinking we'd just make this a whole Ferrari weekend, and tomorrow I will be building a less technical Ferrari. And I'll be building one more like I don't know if it's technically Speed Champ. It's not Speed Champions, but it's an old F40, F50. Can't remember which. But when this one's done, it's going to look like the F1, but it'll be all open because of like the Technic stuff. This one, when it's complete, it's a solid car. So different kind of build, but still 100% Ferrari related. Jeez.
I don't like these.
There's.
The next two trays are not better.
I am told the next 2 trays aren't any better for having all these little pieces standing up here. Get in there. Alright. So this guy. So once again, with all you Ferrari fanatics or F1 fans out there, when is the race? Tomorrow morning in the wee hours? Oh shoot. Should have been on top of that guy. Technical difficulties, please stand by. There we go. You can look at this and just, you could tell at a glance that the complexity here is way less than it is on some of those newer ones. If you remember or watched me stream building the orange Porsche, this guy, like, this is practically a toy in comparison. It's Legos, they're all toys, but there's no working sequential paddle shifters, gearbox, all of that kind of stuff. It's pretty simple. Yeah, 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. Cool. Thank you, Sidewinder. Huh. That goes through there. Mercedes won 6 out of 8. Honda the other 2. Alright, well. Kind of feel like we got to be pulling for Ferrari tomorrow. Just cuz. Oh, these are ridiculous. There's way too many of them.
Sorry.
Feels like also that Lego has this is clearly very early on with their foray into these sorts of super technical car builds. This one at the time was probably one of the more interesting technical sets, despite not being called Technic. And they've just, it's one of those things where Lego has been learning from their own creations for so long that this sort of thing, it paved the way to get to where we are today. So despite it not being one of the absolute coolest Technic sets or most interesting technical marvels, it still is fun to be able to see it from the sense of this is where they came from.
Was this the first really technical car they did?
I'm not sure if this was the first one like this, but it was early. Technic has been around since the early 80s at least. My first Technic set was from 1984. And I don't know if that was, I don't know how many more they had before then, but especially in the last, let's say 5 years, bless you. They've really ramped up the technical detail and awesomeness with these sorts of sets. So. And one thing I'm trying to do here is adjust my steering column to have these at a neutral point of the wheels. Okay. One of the things that they never really talk about, but always kind of bugs me in these sets, they take a lot of care to make sure you line a lot of things up correctly. But one thing that they never really talk about is lining up when there's going to be a steering wheel in the car. They never really talk about lining up the steering wheel with getting the wheels in the neutral straight position. And I need to fix that because obviously when you have the steering wheel centered, the wheels should be straight. So there we go. Okay, fixed. Perfect. Oh wow, okay. Useful trivia. Thank you, Cordy. Technic came out in 1977, a year before the minifig. Interesting. Oh, for Pete's sake. I can't not knock these things over. Screw it. We're just gonna... There.
I stood them up because they roll down if they're just there.
It's fine. Okay. So this set is a 1/10 scale. Oh, 1978 go-kart. Very cool. I gotta admit, I actually don't know what any of the... I have not looked at any of the Technic sets prior to my first set. I should do that. Take a little trip down... Well, it's not really my memory lane, but through the archives. I should do that. Anyway, what I was saying, this is a 1/10 scale model Ferrari, and that means it's going to be just a little bit off from the scale of all of the cool Technic car sets they're making now are 1/8 scale, so slightly different. Slightly different scale. But that said, when I'm done with this set here, I'm gonna see if I can grab that Lamborghini and kind of hold it up for comparison purposes, just to show the different levels of complexity. Okay. Well, that long axle, it actually looks gray in my instructions, but it's definitely black. Okay. Let's. So the first Technic set came with a sticker, you say? Nice to know that LEGO's been making the same mistakes for so long. Alright, so this part that we're doing right now, this is supposed to be centered in here, and normally I would try harder to get it centered perfectly before going on, but I think I can get this thing close enough where it's not really going to make a difference. Let's see here. The main concern is, of course, that you want to make sure you're not going to run out of room on either side. Also, you want to make sure that there's clearance if there's other things that need to pass it on either side, that it's not going to affect that. But right now we got roughly 1.5 units on either side free, so that should be totally fine. That is impressive, Cordy. Actually all of my old sets, every single one of them, the stickers are applied. Actually, this is the first set that I built where I thought, I'm not going to put that sticker on there. And I've got a lot of stickers on here, but there was one sticker that it asks for kind of toward the end of the build that I intentionally left off because the sticker actually covered 2 different pieces, and if you were to apply the sticker, you would no longer be able to take the set apart, which I thought was completely ridiculous for them to ask you to put a sticker across 2 pieces. If anything, they should have had two stickers that you could line up. And I know I could put it on there and cut it, but that I was offended that they would even suggest such a thing. So there you go. All right. Another thing that had popped up when I was working on the Lamborghini this week, these pieces are the only pieces that are so poorly spoken about in the instructions that sometimes you kind of have to guess and hope that you picked up the right one. There's no numbers on them. There are so many other pieces around all of the instructions and everything where they have either numbers associated with them, or they'll show you how many holes there are across so you can see just the size of the thing. These ones, there's no indicator whatsoever that lets you know how big of a piece you're supposed to be picking up. And it seems unusual that LEGO would miss such an important thing. But like all of these axles, whenever you pick up an axle, it always has a number right next to it saying, okay, well, this is an 8 or a 6 or a 3. And same like, as soon as I can get this piece in here, I'll show you another one. The sorts of wingy pieces. Come on, get in there. Why don't you go? Get in there. There it goes. Okay. Pieces like this guy here, these ones actually have a number printed on the inside, even though you could easily tell the difference between a left and a right with these, and you can count the number of holes. Like, there's a number of ways that you could actually see which one of these is the correct one. You know, there's larger ones and smaller ones and things. But, yeah, done with bag 2. But there's absolutely no way to see that these are the correct size, and especially doing the digital instructions, every once in a while on the instructions they'll have a little thing that you could hold it up to if it was printed, and that makes it work perfectly. But when it's not printed and you're doing it on your screen, there's no telling what size it should be. So that would be one piece of feedback I would give to Lego if I ever get the opportunity. All right. So we are now going to build the engine of this thing. We're going to have a working V10 engine. And this sort of engine block with the pistons and everything, this is a pretty standard thing that they have across most Technic sets. Most of the time when you see an engine in a car with a Technic set, it's going to be using this sort of a format. With Lego, obviously. It actually is constructed somewhat similar to the way an actual car's engine is made. Close. Not quite the same, but close enough. Basically, you have all of these pistons around a central shaft. Well, should be a shaft. This isn't quite a shaft, but with cylinder heads attached, and then we're going to put them into the cylinders here. Did I actually pull that up for the camera? No. This is interesting though. The cylinder, the block. Most of the sets now are gray. I don't know why this one was clear. It certainly isn't clear in the car. I would guess that this is in fact modeled after the proper 2004 F1 Ferrari. I know that Lego does work with companies when they release something, like this new Lamborghini set, the Cyan or however you pronounce it. It was announced as a set prior to the official announcement from Lambo for the car itself. So I think Lego gets some special behind-the-scenes secret access to this stuff so that they can release things in tandem.
Same thing happened with that art set. Remember in the audio thing, it said that they got access to Last Jedi stuff before the movie so that they could do Battle of Space.
Yeah, so with the art sets that have the Ferrari, the Vader one that I was talking about, Lex building, there's a podcast associated with it that you can load up and listen to while you're building it, which is kind of fun. You get to hear interesting Star Wars factoids. And one of the things that they were talking about is having access to Last Jedi things before Last Jedi came out. Be able to get this stuff all done correctly in time. So it's good to be Lego. Yes, that's Schumacher era since we last did earlier. Yeah, seeing the workings of the pistons is pretty cool. Alright, I need to make sure I do this part correctly because it's hard to see the instructions. If I don't, it will completely not work. That's probably good right there. Just so you know, this is having an actual emotional impact on me, not being able to grab these connectors without making everything else fall down. Like, I feel really bad each time I grab these and then more of them fall over. Yeah, it is neat being able to see the pistons. Once I have this in a more better put together configuration, I'll hold it up and spin it for you, and you can actually see them working. This would be a great way to show someone the way these things work, give them a general understanding of car engines if they didn't have one. Okay, once I lock it all together with this piece, then it actually will work. Well, quote unquote work. Okay, there we go. So you can see as the pistons fire, you get power out here. Just like a real engine. Okay, and I need to make sure that I keep this. I remember this was a mistake I made the very first time I built it. Somehow I'd gotten the engine turned around, and then I started putting pieces on the wrong side, and things were not lining up correctly. So even I make mistakes when I build Lego. Oh, actually, I should have shown you the bottom side of it. That's really pretty cool. But, see? Step 12, they have the little arrows to turn it around, and I think that was a mistake that I'd made the first time. Which, building this 15 years ago, and remembering that I made that mistake, you can tell that it really stuck with me. How upset I was that I missed it. Those are the special kinds. It is. It's a V10. Which is part of why Ferraris sound so cool. All those higher number of cylinders than most other cars. Ferraris and Lamborghinis. Got to go for a ride a couple of weekends ago in my brother-in-law's Ferrari 488 Pista, which is probably I'm going to say the most expensive car I'm ever going to get to go for a joyride in until he buys something even fancier. He was one of the few people I know whose car buying is more excessive than my own. Oh! Hello there, Chris Bailey. Just so you know, not that anybody ever really enjoys being corrected, this actually is not a Technic set. This is a Racers set, which had no connection to Technic other than basically being a Technic set without being called a Technic set. But it does have all these sweet, sweet Technic pieces that I love so much. Okay. I have to mount the engine in the car here. Yeah, if this set were being made today... Uh-oh. Shoot. Okay, I'm missing a couple of pieces. Maybe they're in the next bag. They're like the black connectors, except they're dark gray and one side of them is half as long. No?
Show me what they look like.
I'll just run up. Okay, well hopefully these aren't needed in the next stage. Otherwise, I'm gonna need to find some more somewhere.
You want me to check the extra piece back?
Yes. Thank you. Okay, so I found those. I put those in. Is that the... Yeah, okay. Here we are. Back to these. These pieces are some pieces that were used in the Lamborghini set in a way that I would have never imagined. That was probably a terrible way to hold that up. There you go. So they were actually attached from these points like this, kind of offset, and then overlapped like this to create a point, and have those are actually different, but okay. Anyway, the it's almost seemed like it was an illegal building request, but when I grab the Lamborghini as a comparison when this thing's done and hold it up, I can show you what I'm talking about. Whoops. Doing these backwards. There. These are some of the most irregularly shaped Lego pieces there are. Which means whenever you see them, they're usually being used for something very unusual and interesting. I know you're a perfectionist, but I'm probably just going to knock those down when you bring them up.
I did this one on purpose.
Okay. We had some off-screen issues. Oh. Hello, Pancake Studios. That's all right. You're welcome to watch over here. This is an older set, 2004. Am I doing that right? No, I have it on. Once again, backwards. It is so hard to do these when you can't see the instructions. Sorry, I know I sound like a broken record. I keep saying that. Try to stop myself. So Pancake, do you stream Lego builds? What do you stream? And I need. Wow, that sure looks like a black piece, but I'm guessing it's gray. Okay. Alright. This one. Incidentally, because this is one of the first sets that I'd had as an adult, there's a whole lot of pieces in here that I remembered when I was building it for the first time that I had never seen before, because it had been, I don't know, a decade since the last time I'd gotten a Lego set. So, oh, shoot. Not one of those. That one. There. Yeah, well, thank you, Pancake. We got we have the forward-facing camera built into the display that I'm looking at, and then we were using an iPhone for the floating camera over here, and then we've got an iPad doing a time lapse that'll post later over there. Oops. This guy needs to go in here somewhere. Right down there. Okay. As I've mentioned before with other Technic sets, one of the things that you frequently want to make sure, if you look at these instructions, this little piece right here could easily be pushed all the way through, but the instructions show that it's not all the way through yet, which means there's going to be something on the other side of this, most likely, that we need to push it into to lock it into place. So whenever you're building these, that's something you always want to keep an eye out for. It's pretty common to be building one of these things and just think, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to push that piece all the way through there. But sometimes you actually are supposed to wait. Pardon me. Alright, now where do you go? How does this get on here? Looks like this. Okay. And see, this is what I was talking about. If you look at the instructions, you can see both that this rod is shown to be a 7, and then on the lower part of the instructions you can see a little 1-to-1, which means that if you were building this set with the printed instructions, you hold it up, it would actually just fit perfectly. It would be the exact same size. But that doesn't really work when you're using the digital instructions. Likewise, those rubbery, bendy ones that I was holding up don't have any indicator whatsoever. And it would be really nice if they did. Another one of these. Other side of whatever it was that we just did. Here. And sure enough, we have this piece that we just put into place now, which we're going to push that other one through and into, I'm guessing. Yep, right there. There we go. So that gives it its stability, structural stability. Differential. First time I saw one of these. Oh, and this one is actually, we've improved these. The newer ones actually have some slots on them that hold the gears in place a little bit better while you're trying to push the axles through. So this is definitely something that they've improved upon. Thankfully. It's actually kind of tough. There we go. And that's a fiber, one of these guys. Yeah, there. Okay. And this works, it lets the wheels basically get the power from the engine and then put as much power as it can to the working wheels, the ones that are getting traction, or have it be slightly different going through turns, that sort of thing, just like a real car. see it as one of the more simultaneously simple and elegant and totally complicated things that Lego lets you do that I think is really cool. There we go. For those and two of these. At some point these colors are going to change and I'm not going to be able to see. Oh! Here's something else that I had mentioned in a previous stream. This is before Lego changed. So these pieces right here are black, and in the instructions they actually look like a very, very dark gray. And this was before Lego went and changed it so that the black pieces would have white. It would be a pure black with a white outline, as they do in the current instructions, to make it a little bit easier to see what you're supposed to see. Oh, but they do it on the connector pieces are black with white outlines. So interesting that they do it on some but not all. Okay, and that's a 5. So that's going to go all the way through there. Hold all of that in place. 2 and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that goes on here somehow. Let's see, like that. Okay. Okay. Obviously building up the tail into the car here. Alright, and we're about 3/4 of the way through the build here. 3/4. We've been around 15, so the other 20 minutes up. Yeah, we'll be done around, like I said, hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. So quicker build today. Not quite a pit stop quick, but quick by our normal build standards. Yeah, so I mentioned it last weekend during the build that the only reason I was able to actually build the piano last weekend and have an extra day on Monday was because some other plans had gotten messed up, and Chris Bailey and I we've got some plans that we had to reschedule to this coming Friday from last Monday. We're gonna go do a photo shoot by the beach with my new car. I haven't really felt like I've had any really good pictures to be able to post anywhere to show off my new car. And so Chris Bailey is quite the photographer, and we went out with my old GTR and did this a few years ago, and finally gonna go out and brave the world and take some more pictures of the new car. So yes, I am also very, very excited. We're both playing hooky from work. I'm gonna drive down to Monterey and take some beautiful pictures. Okay, that is the end of bag 3. We're making pretty good progress here. It's getting... We definitely have the right shape of it down now. We just need to do kind of a lot of the arrow work now. Thank you. Alright, we have all these very difficult to work with tubes. I hate these tubes. The reason why I dislike them so much is they're difficult to attach to what you need to attach them to. And I'll show you what I mean when I get to that point. But they're just hard to work with. They're the only pieces that I feel in when I'm building a Lego set, are the only ones that I ever feel are purposefully difficult to put where they need to go. And like I said, I'll show you what I mean here in a second. It's just a byproduct of the way they work. Unless you're one of Chris Bailey's friends and then ask him really, really nicely if he'll go and take some glamour shots of your car for you. It's very accommodating that way. Okay, so now we're going to have to connect all of these. We're going to have to connect all these hoses, and I can show you what I mean. So the hoses, they're hollow. They are in fact tubes, but they really are like a plastic hose, and they're intended to go over the top of these connectors. That one actually went on pretty well. A lot of these are going to go on well because I've really stretched them out at this point, but they're really, they don't fit together the way a normal Lego piece fits together, or the way one of these connectors fits in. The hole has enough of a lip to it that it can be difficult to get over the connector, and it's just a pain to work with them, unless you've built the set so many times that it just sort of slides on anticlimactically. When I first got this, it was much more difficult to get them to go where they were supposed to go. Did I not grab? I did, okay. All of these. Sidewinder, I had no idea you were such a photographer. Constantly learning interesting things about you, sir. Man of many talents. Okay. All of our exhaust tubing. There we go. And now for the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 of these little guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one. That one. Whoa. It's stuck to my hand. All right. You guys are talking about all these weird issues you're having with photography and learning curves. I found that if you just point your phone up at the sky and just sort of tap on the screen, usually it'll end up looking the way I want it to look.
I'd hit you, but you're too far away.
Maybe download a professional camera app instead of using the built-in one. Although honestly, that one's good for most purposes. I'll take that as a compliment, Chris. Your husband's a smart man. Well, it's the best and only camera that I have, so that's what we're sticking with. Shot on iPhone. Okay, almost done with the most annoying part of this build, which are these stupid tubes. Okay. Last one. Aha. No more. Great. There. Huh. Oh. Yeah. It was nice when we could see the sky. Good old days. Remember how much fun we had at the beginning of this year when all we had to worry about was a global pandemic. Okay. I wonder if Chris Evans builds Lego. Seems like too cool of a guy not to enjoy him. How,
Your cavalcade plays WoW.
how fun would that be if he had like a CaseyBuilds stream? I would watch that. Chris, what you don't realize is his bias comes from the fact that he looks like Chris Hemsworth. So, that's fair. Okay. What's next? Oh, here's something else that's interesting. The longest axles that I've ever seen now were in the piano build last weekend. If you weren't watching, there was one of these that was 32. This is a 10 in comparison. There was a 32, which I forgot to look up to see if it has ever been used anywhere else or if it was special made for that set. But it was an absolute monster. Secret Squirrel Bricks. That's a fun name. Secret Squirrel. Thank you very much. It's crazy. We're getting a lot of new traffic today. We usually don't see so many new faces all at once. It's kind of fun. Alright. Oh, I remember this step being a little tricky to... get this. Oh, and it actually shows you on the instructions, it says, number 1, put this one through first. And breaking it off is not part of what you're supposed to do. So, let's put that back on. Okay. Trying to do these steps in the right order. That. So 32 units is the same distance as measured by 6. Yes. So if you look right here, like that brick is 2 wide, and this rod is a 10, so it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 wide. Good question. Let's see if I can get this in this time. Alright, so it needs to go through here. Yeah, there's a few of these older sets. This is the... I'm glad that I have this one, but there are definitely some of the older sets that I wish I had thought to get at the time that are, they're now thousands of dollars on eBay. That I want them just to be able to build them. I'm not looking to make money off of them. It kind of bugs me when people do that. But there are some older sets that I wish I could get my hands on now. But I'm also not going to spend $5,000 on a Lego set that originally sold for $100. Okay. More of these. But yeah, this is a, for of its time, a beautiful Lego set. Can't remember what the name of the other Ferrari is, but there was another Ferrari set right around this time that it's one of the ones that I wish I had had. Oh, there absolutely is a limit. I like to think that my obsession is a practical one. I realize others may disagree with me on that, but yes, there definitely is a limit. Okay, I think this step might be the end of this bag, I think. One of those, and now for the other side. There we go. Alright, let's see where these little wings go. This one goes here. More arrow stuff. And we are done with that bag. On to the last one. I'm going to fix those for you. There we go. I fixed them. Thumbs up. Okay, let's finish this guy off. So that's a 4. Part of the... So with this being as difficult for it to read as it is, part of how I'm knowing what pieces to use is actually just looking at it and saying, okay, well that rod is supposed to be, it's a 4 axle. Oh, thank you. Which I just happen to know is the black one, as opposed to the 3s, which are gray, and it's tricky. Okay. Speaking of Chris Hemsworth and racing, if anybody enjoys racing and has not yet seen the movie Rush, it's pretty darn good. I would say even if you're not a car enthusiast, even if you don't really care about racing, it's a great movie. Story of Niki Lauda and Hunt. What's his first name? I can't remember his first name. Fun fact, the naturally aspirated engine in this car produced 900 brake horsepower on a vehicle that weighed only 1,300 pounds. Yeah, that's pretty wild. 6 cents with chemistry. When a certain reaction turns a certain color, you know it's done. 18,000 RPM. James Hunt, thank you. Yeah, Sidewinder, it sounds like you've actually seen Rush, I'm guessing. 18,000 RPMs. But yes, also, yes, Chris, that is a... obviously different, but similar to the S2000. It's an absolutely nutty horsepower to weight ratio. Ooh, documentary about Niki Lauda. Excellent. That is something I would be interested in watching. I feel like Lex is usually the one who dominates the documentaries. And they're usually about super old actresses. But I need to call shotgun for some of these car documentaries. Yeah, that was my biggest problem with the S2000 as well. I could barely squeeze myself into the passenger side when a friend of Chris Bailey's and mine had his, and he let me. We would let each other drive our cars, and so he let me drive his S2000, and I was able to wedge myself into the thing, but I could barely turn the wheel because of how tight it was against my legs. So it was not something that I would ever be able to enjoy for myself. Still, super cool car. Kind of bummed that Honda doesn't have anything like it anymore. Yeah. When I went for a test drive in the very first Tesla Roadster before they came out with the Model S, the only way, and that's the one using the Lotus chassis, the only way I was actually able to get into the car was to take off the roof panel, stand in it, and then slide myself downward into the car. I actually couldn't physically fit through the doorway to get into the car. So, small cars are fun, but I need a little bit more, a little more space. Alright, we're very near the end of this here. Actually, those pieces might be the end of it, so I'm not even going to bother laying them out ahead of time. Just going to start building. Can't remember if I had mentioned this on a previous stream or not, but the upcoming year will be the first year in America that there will be no front-wheel drive coupes. There are the Civic is. There's no longer going to be a Civic offered as a coupe, and it was the last front-wheel drive coupe offered at right now. And next year, there's no longer going to be the Civic coupe. So there were no front-wheel drive coupes as of next year in America. Kind of a weird thing. Oh, it did it to me again. I needed to turn it around, and it almost got me. Almost got me. Lauda, the Untold Story. Cool. Thank you very much. I'll look that up. Incidentally, at that Ferrari party I was talking about, there was a lot of cool artwork up on the walls, and obviously there were some pretty cool pictures of portraits of Niki Lauda, Ferrari man that he was. I do like the way that this one's made. Some of the sets will do this and some of them don't, and I wish they all did it. But when there's these sorts of... when there's an emphasis on the engineering of the engine, I like it when the coverings are removable so that you can actually see what's going on. And the first two of these big sets, Porsche and Bugatti, they don't really do that, but that was one of the things that they actually got right with this new Lambo set. You can actually remove the engine cover to see everything that's going on in there. And that's pretty nice. Okay. Bridgestone sticker goes this way. Bridgestone sticker goes this way. And these little bendy rods with absolutely no indicator on what length to use go right here. Okay. And here are the only things holding the cover in place. This sets down right here, and one last look. Also, we have another steering knob here, so that the steering wheel will actually turn with the wheels, but you can reach down and turn on this as well to make it a little bit easier. So it's geared to both places. And as the wheels turn, you can see engine spins, so that's all going to get covered up now. Put this into place. Oops. There. And last but not least, we have all of our wheels. Need to get attached to this thing. And you can tell by the wear on the rubber for these that I've rolled this thing around quite a bit. Okay. That. Do they make an RC version of this car? Oh, they don't make a. I mean, you could add you could definitely add the power function stuff to this to make it RC. They do have a really cool RC Technic set. Over here, that was a Top Gear branded Technic set. This guy right here, and it was like I said, Top Gear branded. I was actually, after I built this, pretty disappointed with how quick it was. You control it with your phone, but the motor just kind of seemed underpowered, and nothing I could do. I tried to tweak it quite a bit, to make it go faster, and I couldn't. So I was pretty disappointed with it. So I think I'm not sure how to make any of these. You could maybe mod this to be able to do the same thing, but I don't think you would be impressed with how quickly it goes. But yeah, building it was fun. It's fun that Top Gear partnered with them. So this is the end of the set. So real fun, lightweight, like a Ferrari, or like a F1 car. I'm going to go grab real quick the Lamborghini for comparison. So you can see the difference between 1/8 and 1/10. So this Ferrari is a 1/10 scale, so a little bit smaller, and then the Lamborghini is a 1/8 scale. So you can see the size difference here. So 1/8 is quite a bit bigger. One last thing, I was mentioning the Lamborghini used, so these bits on the rear end of the Ferrari here that were used as kind of supports for kind of a suspension, kind of the ones I was talking about that are just sort of oddly shaped. On the Lamborghini set, they used them on the back here, and you can see that they pinch them together and then group them to make kind of this V shape, which was totally wild and unusual. Anyway, that is the end of the Ferrari today. Tomorrow we'll build another Ferrari, and it'll be like a car, less of a F1 kind of a thing, like a normal car. What am I missing here? Solid Celebration, yes. The Lambo is great. Thank you all so much for showing up today. As always, had a great time. Go enjoy the rest of your Saturdays, and hopefully I'll see a bunch of you guys around here tomorrow for the other Ferrari, so that we can have a pair of beautiful red Ferraris. Thanks so much. See you all later.